Hello. How is everyone? Welcome to CDR. Is this anyone's first CDR by any chance? Okay, welcome. It is a place to congregate, share ideas with other producers, hear your tracks on a really good sound system. Shout out to Corsica Studios. And we also delve into an artist and talk about them, about their journey, some of their production. And today we are speaking to Mina, who wears many hats. She runs her own record label, Earth Kicks. She's got an NTS radio show. She's part of the Boko collective. She's traveled the world playing and also collaborating with different artists, most notably the Ghanaian rapper Bryte. And she also runs her own initiative, Funding with Mina, which she gives free resources for people to access funding pots. And yeah, she's just an all-round G. Give it up for Mina.
Hi, Raj.
Hi, Hannah.
How you going? How's it going? You forgot about Club Soft, very important.
Oh, yeah, and
New
she's
string
just
to my bow.
actually a really good point. She's just launched a new club night, I guess, or
Well, I've done one, so
Yeah.
it's a pilot, in its pilot phase at the moment. But yeah, I've just started an alcohol-free club night. So yeah, hopefully it can grow into something more. But I'm excited about the possibilities.
let's just stay here. So what was the thinking behind the club stuff?
I guess just the way that like clubs are essentially run or are only profitable when they sell alcohol. Like most events, you have to have like a minimum bar spend in order to earn money. And I just thought like, surely there has to be an alternative way. And a lot of people either don't want to drink or don't feel comfortable drinking or, you know, for whatever reason. So it'd be nice to kind of have a space for those people who still want to go out and hear great music but don't necessarily want to be out till 6 a.m.
And it's also
hungover.
an early doors event.
Yeah, it's early doors, and yeah, I'm just kind of conceptualizing the idea of the club space as well, and trying to like centralize the dance floor more. So like taking the DJ out of the center of the room and building a space that's like just for dancing. I think could be quite interesting as well. So I'm plotting a few things right now.
It's sort of repositioning people's relationship to club music.
Yeah,
right?
I know there's a whole, it went like viral on Twitter. So I'm not, this was completely separate to that. I wasn't like, you know, fuck the DJ. Obviously, I don't think that's like how it should be. But I don't know. I just think there's space, you know, for alternatives. Like, you know, we live in London, a city of millions of people. Surely there should be like one space for people that don't necessarily want to drink or, you know, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
But financially, yeah, it's really challenging. So I'm just figuring that out.
How did the first one go?
It went well. It was a great party, but I didn't make any money. So that's clubs aren't going to be rushing to invite me back. But I'm in talks with a few one really exciting art space about potentially doing a party there. So fingers crossed that works out. And I'm also going to apply for Arts Council funding as well. So I know CDR congrats to CDR for being MPO. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows, but.
Great. Shall we start at the beginning and sort of like delve into the early days of how you got into being a club DJ, you know, production?
Well, yeah, my origin story is probably like a lot of people just at uni, just like, oh my God, like I can be a DJ, you know, there's house parties. Went to Leeds. Don't know if anyone went to Leeds here. But Leeds is a really great city for club music. Subdub was from Leeds, for example. Outlook Festival, Hessel Audio. I'm trying to think who else. There are lots of DJs that like cut their teeth in Leeds, and like thinking about it now, I'm like, we had so many amazing venues and access to so much space. And I think now, obviously in London, you know, venues closing every day, it just makes me appreciate. I wasn't putting on parties because I had no idea what I was doing, but you know, I wasn't. No way. I mean, like I was just very like uncommon. I didn't really have any ambitions beyond just like playing in a bedroom, like a house party, you know, and just kind of would be that keynote of a USB, like, oh, I can do a set, and people like, you know, guys would come to the house and put their sound system there, and you know, they'd stay on the decks all night, you know, that kind of vibe. Is like, it's our sound system, so we could stay on the decks. And I was like, okay. not going to argue with you about playing a set, but often I think they wanted me there, or the host wanted me there because I was playing music outside of house and techno and offering something a bit different. So I think people connected with that. So I was quite in demand as a house party DJ in Leeds, if that's a cool thing to be.
when did it transition from the house parties to like this could actually be a thing for you?
So I actually met a guy who was a grime producer, and we started dating, and he taught me how to use Logic, and I was like, oh my God, this is actually really, not to be like cocky, but I was actually quite good, like quite quickly, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I can make...
Did you have any musical training before?
Yeah, so at school I studied piano, like classical piano, did grades, and dabbled in a couple of other instruments like flute, saxophone. So shout out my mum who's in the audience for providing me with music lessons from a really young age, because I think that gave me a good foundation of like music theory and harmonies and chords and scales. Obviously none of this you need to know, but I think especially with the music that I make, it's very rooted in melody. So I think having that foundation was like really important. Even though I did grade 8 and I was like, hell no, never touching a piano ever again. This is like, you know, when it sucks all the fun out of it when you're just hustling, trying to study to do this exam. So yeah, I guess I stopped, but I don't know, I think with production, I just felt like I'd unlocked a whole world of possibility that I just didn't realize existed. And it just felt like a really expansive opportunity. So I got dumped from this guy, but then I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna be more successful than you. That's the plan, and I am. So he had like 1,000 followers on SoundCloud, and I was like, 1,000 followers on SoundCloud, like that's so many. I just thought it was like incredible. Yeah. Now I've got like 7,000. So even though who cares, SoundCloud is not really relevant.
Nice.
But do you remember, like I was thinking that back in the day, like how important SoundCloud was. I don't know if anyone in the audience remembers, like that was the place that you would kind of get discovered. And I don't know, it's just sad that it was such a great time, I feel.
Yeah, it definitely was an era.
So, sorry, someone's
sorry. Just giving some evil eyes to someone talking in the crowd. But yeah, so you got stuck into Logic, and tell us how that journey went.
Yeah, I think I just started making edits because that's what you do, isn't it, when you start out? And and then just realized that I was kind of could make something fairly good quite quickly. And it's all about turning what you've got in your head into something in real life. I think that's the hardest bit, isn't it? You can hear this like melody in your head or this sound, and like translating it into actual music is the hard bit. But I found that I could do it, and then I started getting a bit more bookings, like warm-up DJs playing to no one in the club vibes. And then I went to Ghana just after university for 3.5 months, and I met a producer called Gafachi. If you don't know him, he's a visionary.
It's incredible.
Yeah, like just a visionary artist who literally probably birthed like most of your favorite producers. If you, not birthed, I don't know what the word is. Literally birthed. Yeah, we wouldn't exist without Gafachi, but for some reason he's not like a huge superstar. It's just one of those, Gafacci. He should be up there with like the greats. He's incredible, but I mean he kind of is, but he's a bit more of a cult. Heads no. So I met him, and he kind of mentored me and just showed me how you could kind of combine like grime and afrobeats and funky and baile funk and all of these different sounds together and create something new and different. And I think that just really inspired me, because I've always been someone that has just loved so many genres, and I'm like, I don't want to stick to one thing. I don't want to stick to one sound. Like, how can I bring all of these influences together and create something new and different? And I think that was him, and who else was it? Brackus from Sistema, and Just Now.
You met them?
No, I didn't meet them, but they were inspiring to me, you know, as like people that come together to create music that's really really kind of collaborative. I think for me, collaboration has always been like really, really important to what I do, because I just think that like that's when. Pardon?
From the beginning of your career onwards, you've
been from the beginning, I was like, that's where the intersection of culture is where the magic happens, you know, like that's where the real incredible, like look at jungle, look at grime, garage, all of these genres came from collaboration between different cultures, and that for me is really beautiful. So that's always something that I've kind of had rooted in my work from the beginning. And I've been really grateful and lucky to be able to travel and connect with people that inspire me. So
yeah, can you talk a little bit about that collaborative process? Like, especially you work quite a lot with Bryte, in terms of like, you're not a duo, but you've done so much work together that.
Yeah, he's just family now, really. Shout out Bryte. So I met him on my second trip to Ghana through Gafachi. He had a track called I Like Your Girlfriend, which is kind of like a cult classic, you know. Bok Bok was playing it and people like that. And I was like, what is this track? It's honestly, if you hear it, it sounds like the future, even though it was made 15 years ago. I don't know why it's also not like a huge hit, but anyway, this is how it goes. Anyway, I heard the track and I was like, please can you introduce me to Bryte? Like, he's incredible. And then he introduced me and I gave him a USB with 2 beats on it. No, maybe a few more, but at least 2. One was the Make Money beat and one was Center. And then we met up on the beach and he performed Center to me and I was just stood there like, you're a genius. Like, what the hell? And we recorded it and I sent by that point I was in touch with Branko from Bracca Som Sistema. He messaged me actually about my Radar radio show. He was like, your show's so cool on SoundCloud. And I was like, oh my God, Branko thinks my show is cool. Like, it was such a, for me, like, it felt really nice to be acknowledged by someone that I'd look up to. And then I sent him the demos and he wanted to release them on Enchufada. So yeah, that's how I got connected to Enchufada.
That's amazing. Should we get in, is this See Something first?
Yeah, this is a recent track with Bryte. Just a little bit more about Bryte before I go into the track. He's, I feel incredibly blessed to like have met a vocalist who really listens to me. I don't know if people have worked with vocalists, but it can be a bit touch and go. Sometimes they don't always like take on your advice or listen to you and it doesn't feel like a collaboration. But with him, like right from the get-go, he's always listened to me. We respect each other so much and he's so open-minded to trying out new things. And I'm just so grateful that I met someone like that because it's like, how does that those kind of relationships don't always happen. And he's just incredibly talented. He raps in, I think, 5 different languages, and his wordplay and his imagery is so creative, and his hooks. Again, he should be like WizKid, but alas, such is life. But yeah, I think this particular track, I think I sent him a loop of like maybe 16 bars, and he came back with like, dun dun dun, make a see something. Dun, dun, and I was like, that is the hook. Like, that is the hook. That is so good. So I kind of gave him the feedback to turn that particular bit into the hook. So we came up with like this concept. It's London girl, then it's Cape Town girl, Lagos girl, like kind of connecting with different people.
Are these collaborations always in the room, or is it like sending stuff online?
With Bryte, normally how it works is I'll send him a beat. He'll come up with an idea, come to the studio, and then we flesh it out into a full track. So I'll give him feedback about that should be a verse, that should be a hook kind of thing. I generally prefer to be in the room. Yeah. I think like that's when the real energy and the ideas can kind of really bounce off each other.
For recording or for the creation of the beat?
For both. I don't really like working remotely. I have done it before, but I find it a bit sterile and a bit difficult to like communicate, with the other person. So yeah, if you can get in the room with people, like I really recommend it, especially as a producer, and it can help you to grow in confidence as well. The only thing I hate about like working with vocalists as well is when they want to bring their like entourage, and you're just like, you just have all these people sat around you who don't really know what they're talking about, but they'll always, if you're like discussing something and they'll go, oh, what do you think of that? Should it be like that? Of course they're going to say yes, like they're your friend. They're not going to be like, no. So I feel like it's me. I like to be just me and the person, because then I feel like then we have we're like equals. You get what I mean? Especially as a woman, like I've been in the room with like 5 guys, and that's a bit intimidating, right? Like I'm pretty confident, but I think that's why I don't like having extra people in the room, because I feel like it creates the energy, it creates a power imbalance, which I don't really like. But obviously it's not that deep, but that's how I see it.
No, I get it. That's quite good advice for producers who want to.
Yeah, just tell the person, don't bring anyone, please. Like, just because it's also like an ego thing. Like, why do you need your friend there? Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need. And Bryte would always come on his own, so I love that, because I'm like, you're here, you're serious. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need like friends to kind of. So yeah, with me and Bryte, it's always been very equal, and we respect each other very equally, and I think that's why it's worked so well. And now he's living in London, which is amazing. So.
And you're quite instrumental in sort of bringing, helping him out with visa and things.
Yeah, definitely. It was always like a plan to kind of facilitate that. So I'm really like happy that he's here now. Definitely.
Great. Should we sort of get into the process behind this particular track and collaboration with Bryte?
Don't hate me, Charlie.
Yeah.
If you don't know my story. If I hate you before, I go tell you I'm sorry.
It's gonna be a weird mix, by the way. It's not like the final mix, so that's what it points.
Yeah. Me, I know they waste time on the past. I just they move. Me, I know they fear popo. I feel like I win lotto. I they put in the work. Well done. Mama say Aiko. Okay. Gucci Versace. In my party. All the pretty ladies. Want your body. London girl, make her see something. Make her see something. Lagos girl, make her see something. Make her see something. Cape Town girl, make her see something. Make her see something. Caribbean girl, make her see something. Make her see something. Okay. What you make I do for you? Put your face on my chest tattoo. Any man will go try you. Me I no go round, I go fight for you. Yeah, if you want to looking at you, fanboy teen, they entice you. Yeah, the way me I'm mad over you. But London girl, make her see something. Make her see something. Lagos girl, make her see something. Make her see something. Cape Town girl, make her see something. Make her see something. Caribbean girl, make her see something. Make her see something.
This song is in a Nando's advert with Bukayo Saya.
Nice. Bro. We'll get into that later. Actually, the sync
How
side.
to get the shmoney. How to get the shmoney when you're a producer.
So before bringing Bryte into the equation, what's your sort of like go-to for sort of? Do you have a process for how you start a track?
I think I got these I'm a piano sample pack, because obviously I'm a piano log drum is just like, chef's kiss in terms of bass sounds, but it's a preset in Fruity. I don't use Fruity, so I was like, I need to get a sample pack. So I think this was what I started with, which I don't know if it's gonna. Oh, that's weird. Maybe it's here. Okay. Oh yeah, that's the sound. So I kind of liked it. It's kind of like, I just thought it was a cool sound, and then just came up with a really simple bass line. And then the drums, I didn't want to make amapiano, because I think I'm obviously not going to be able to make amapiano like as sick as the geniuses in Pretoria and South Africa. So I was like, let's add it, make like a UK funky amapiano vibe. So the drums, I guess. I don't know how.
You've kind of got your trademark drum intro.
I just kind of like, normally I'll hear like a snare pattern. I would just always get inspired by other tracks. So in the studio, I'll like listen to a track that I like the particular drum pattern of, and then try and recreate it. Obviously don't copy it like word for word, but using that as the inspiration, I think usually is a good starting point. So like, that's like a quite simple snare pattern. And then adding like a sort of like a tom is like a kind of counter rhythm to the snare is quite nice. And then some like shakers as well. Quite simple actually. This is really simple, to be fair. Yeah. So the beat is super simple. It's literally just like bass and drums.
And at what point Is it just a loop, or do you flesh it out fully? At what point do you be like, right, I'm going to send this to Bryte? Or
I think I sent like this
collaborating.
first 16 bars to Bryte. Yeah, I think that's all I sent him, to be fair. So yeah, it wasn't very much at all. And then for the chorus, literally just...
Girl, make us see something.
It's just literally just like a little... Duh. That's all it is. It's like, that's the only thing different. So
yeah. And do you build the arrangement of his vocals, or you work on that together, or?
Yeah, so like I really love when the beat cuts out and then cuts back in again. It's like, ooh, where's the beat gone? You know, I love that, right? So like this bit, I just think it's so sick. When it's like,
okay, what do I do for you? Put your face on my chest, tattoo.
You know, I love that. So I think like things like that, obviously that's in response to his lyrics because it just sounded sick. Like just having.
What do I do for you? Put your face on my chest, tattoo.
You know, it's a really easy tool. Like just cut stuff out and bring it back in again if you're wondering what to do. It creates tension. Like it's so easy, but I love stuff like that. So definitely that was built around his vocal. And then each chorus, I've kind of like added another layer. So inspired by a lot of like South African music, they use a lot of like drones and kind of like low sort of one note kind of repeating things. So
make us see something.
So it's just like a flute. Do, 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 do. Like that's really kind of like a nice way to like build layers. And then right at the end, I was like, I'm gonna just switch it up a bit at the end.
See something. Show something. Do something.
But I think it might have been muted. Yeah, there's like a doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo sounds, but that's Serum's not working, so I upgraded my laptop. I know, but yeah.
I love how you just tried to recreate it with your voice.
Doo-doo. Maybe I should do that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm a big fan of like just switching it up, like switching up the beat, switching up the bass, just doing something really unexpected. Yeah, I just think like obviously with this, when you have such a great vocal, you don't actually need to do that much because the vocal really carries the song. But yeah, it's definitely good to like keep things fresh in terms of structure, like every 8 bars, switch something up, change something, you know, like just add those moments of tension and release.
Do you have any advice on the recording process? I mean, we've already got the don't bring the entourage, but in terms of like the actual record, like the processing, the vocal chain, the sort of like how you process the vocals, because Bryte's got a voice that feels like it projects very well, you know. Like,
yeah, he's like a one take and done kind of guy, which is great.
There's not much comping and sort of like
not
editing
really. So normally how we do it is we'll do like lead and then 2 BVs. So you pan the BVs left and right, and then ad libs. So they're usually like 4 tracks for like the chorus, and then for the lead, actually we've kind of got a call and response, which I think is quite cool.
Sorry, time no they wait. No.
So this is like the backing is kind of like a call and response.
I just did move me out of the fear popo. I feel like I win lotto. I put in the work. Well done. Mama say Aiko.
It's kind of nice. It's like almost like an echo, but we just recorded it. So that's quite a cool effect to do. And then this was mixed separately, so they kind of did different treatments. But I'm not a mix engineer. I don't actually mix my tracks fully when they go to be released. So in terms of vocals, yeah, I just have like a kind of chain that I'll use that I've saved, but I don't really know what I'm doing. So. And
do you have a studio for recording, or is it like home?
This was done at Pirate, I think. Shout out Pirate, yeah. Shout out Pirate. I travel around a lot, so I don't like. It wouldn't really make sense for me to have a regular studio. But yeah, Pirate's great because you can just book it for the hour that you need it. Yeah.
So you've done your collaboration. It slaps. How'd you get the shmoney? How'd you get that Nando's money?
Oh, yeah. I mean, do you know what? I think it was through More Time Records. Shout out More Time. A great label that we release Make Money on, and somehow they just have great contacts with a load of sync agents. So through them, we got introduced to a guy that was doing an advert for Samsung. and they actually used one of our tracks as a reference track. And it's Mama Day Party, which is another track with Bryte. And originally they were like, oh yeah, we want kind of something this vibe, and we want a female vocalist. Do you know anyone? We need it like tomorrow, because that's what they always do. They want the track like the next day. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know any vocalists apart from Bryte, so he can do it for now, and then you can find a vocalist. So I did the beat, sent it to him. He did the vocal. They wanted it to be 1, 2, 3, 4 because there's 4 cameras on this phone or something like that. So we did the track, and they were like, yeah, this is so cool. And then I went off to Uganda to Nyege Nyege and was like uncontactable, and they were getting really stressed. And they were like, yeah, we can't find a female vocalist that can do it as good as Bryte. And I was like, well, obviously, come on, like he's incredible. So, and they're like, okay, we'll use Bryte. And I was like, yay. So so they agreed to use the track. And I think once you get that little foot in the door, it's like, okay, other sync agents hear your track in an advert, and they probably talk, you know. So then other sync agents were emailing us with briefs and things like that. And just now I work with about 5 different ones. One's called or I think it's called Resistor, and it's just for female producers, which is pretty cool. So if you're a female producer, hit them up.
How do you
Resistor, Resister. How it works is they'll send you a brief. You get a demo fee for doing the work. So usually it's between like £200 to £400 for the demo fee. And then there's a win fee, which is anything from like $1,000 to like $100,000. Like literally these fees are crazy. But so Resistor, there's Sync Smith, he does a lot of underground stuff. Something Out of Nothing, he does underground stuff. Adelphoi, and another one, I can't remember, DLMDD. But there's loads, but those are the ones that I've worked with. And then through that Samsung thing, I got a call at like, I was in Australia, I got a call at like midnight from the agent. I was like, I've got to answer this. Like, hey. He's like, yeah, we were doing this advert for Nando's and we need a track. Like, can you see something? I was like, of course. Like, what? Of course you can. Like, but yeah, I think they were just desperate. They couldn't find anything, and it was just like a last minute thing. So yeah, and then that came through. So amazing. Yeah. Yeah.
And just, you know, kind of on this, what I respect about you quite a lot is actually sort of your transparency and on sort of like the economy and sort of like infrastructure of like, especially the kind of funding with Mina, which, you know, a lot of the, you know, people in this room and just musicians, producers in general, is like, how do I actually make a living out of this? How can I feed myself? How can I pay rent?
I think
do you want to quickly touch
I think the industry right now is just really imbalanced towards DJing, and DJing is where you can earn money, which is great. Like if you're booked, right? But a lot of producers out here can't get booked or aren't getting booked. So I'm just like, there has to be a way for producers to be earning money as well. Like I think the fact that DJs can get paid 4 figures to play music they didn't make, for me, just doesn't make any sense. Like that isn't fair. But that's just how it is. So yeah, I guess I'm just trying to kind of help producers realize that there are ways to earn money outside of DJing. With sync, it's very like, I wouldn't say you can rely on sync as like a stable income, because it's not at all, but it can be really lucrative if you get it. There is also library music, so you can make music that's submitted to a library, which is a bit different. The money is lower, but it's a bit more stable. So both of those options I think are really cool. But
can you talk quickly about the sort of funding with Mina and
the funding with Mina? So that was just a way of me trying to kind of share the knowledge that I've built up over the years in terms of applying for grants. Been really lucky to get money from various organizations, and I just want to help other people kind of access this. I do talks, I post grants. I just think it's really important that people know what's out there and know how to kind of tick the boxes that you need to tick in order to get the money.
I would strongly recommend everyone following the page. It's an Instagram page. It's funding
with Mina. And
posts basically opportunities and funding pots that happen, week to week, month to month, and the criteria and also advice. And she's quite humble, but she's helped get, artists a lot of grants along the way and, help launch careers and stuff. So big up.
I think I launch careers. That's
getting a pot of money you don't know how, maybe I'm egging it a little bit too much.
Yeah, I don't think I've done that. But, of course, like getting an email from someone, oh my God, I got the money. Like I'm just like, that's amazing, So yeah, for sure. I've like helped people with their creative goals, definitely. But yeah. Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to move on to, and maybe we can sort of like look at a project file, is edits. Because one thing that you've kind of, I guess it's not the only thing, but one thing that's definitely like helped get your name out there and definitely been played in clubs is like, now that's what I call Mina and the dancehall edits and stuff. We've had chats recently about sort of your mixed feelings.
More discourse.
More DJ discourse about your feelings on edits. It's caused a bit of a...
It's not me. I'm not starting the discourse.
No. I mean,
I'm just in my head. The discourse is in my head.
Yeah. But it has been a thing, like a Deck Mantle this year, where there was a big Twitter discourse about people, debating the validity of edits. Where do you stand on it now?
I think that there's loads of incredible original music being released. So I think that as long as it's like a balance, I think that as a producer, I can absolutely see why edits are useful. And, I probably wouldn't be where I am today without them, but I think they can be overused and at the expense of like great original music. And I think in the era of, TikTok and all of that, it's like, I get it. I get why people feel that that's going to get the biggest response for their TikTok videos. But yeah, it's just, I think it's just about balance really between different things rather than like, this is all. Yeah, if his set is just full of edits, I'm not going to be that interested in.
Yeah.
Is that controversial? I don't know.
I don't know. It's like, it's for.
It doesn't feel. It's not that controversial, I guess, isn't it?
I mean, for me as a listener, it's like really fun because it's like, oh, this song from the pop song from the 90s or 2000s. Yeah. I'm like, great, I love this song. And it's a cool drum beat over the top. But I do think, it can sometimes be a bit tiring when it's all that you hear.
I think it's definitely as a producer. It's like just releasing music and trying to cut through the noise is hard enough as it is. So I think, that's why I'm kind of focusing on original music for the next couple of years or however long moving forward, because I just think that it's a bit harder, but it feels a bit more rewarding to be like, okay, everything about this track is like mine, rather than I'm relying on that vocal or that iconic hook to kind of bring people in. And I think someone tweeted something, I can't remember who it was, but they were like, lots of the times I hear an edit and I'm like, this would be a sick original if they just took out the vocal. Do you know what I mean? Or if they actually took out the thing that was the edit part. And I'm like, yeah, that's quite fair. Like maybe just have a bit more courage. But yeah, of course, as a producer who's just starting out, having those acapellas and tools to help you build a track can be really, really useful. So there's definitely pros and cons.
Yeah. And you have made some banging edits, so
yeah.
So should I go into one of them?
Yeah, this is
Mina, Mina. Do you think you're better off alone? Do you think you're better off alone? Do you think you're better off alone?
This is actually missing a few parts because Serum isn't working, but yeah, you get the idea.
Okay. Nice. Round of applause. So, what's your sort of approach? Is it very different when you're kind of coming at right, I'm going to make an edit rather than, you know, a collaboration track or an original production?
Yeah, definitely, because like you've got stuff already there. I think either I go at it from like a melody head or a rhythm head. This one was a melody head, so I was like, I love this original. I just love the original melody better off alone. So I just played around with the bass. Wanted to give it like a dancehall vibe.
Are you sampling? Are you getting MIDI from the like? What's the
so I just probably ripped this from YouTube or something. I don't know. I actually don't remember where I got it from, but this was the sample. Oh, okay. Oh, it's not playing now. Oh, that's why.
Do you think you're better off alone? Do you think you're
So what was really good about trance tracks is they normally have a really long intro that doesn't have any drums in it. So that's what you need. You just need that bit that doesn't have any drums. But I think there are like loads of really good plugins now
like
that can
separation.
separate everything out. It's so clever. Like AI is amazing, right? But yeah, it's amazing, but I didn't use that here. I just kind of like took the bit that didn't really have anything in it.
Do you think you're better
So that bit.
So you presumably start with a sample.
Yeah, I started with the sample.
Find a
Make
loop.
sure that find a loop, put it in the right BPM, work out the key. This one was really out of tune. I guess that's the vibe of the 90s. I don't know. But I just made it in tune because it's just no way I'm going to be able to add melodies if the original melody isn't in tune. So I just use like sound shifter, I think, to
Just to transpose it upward.
yeah. Something's gone weird about all my plugins because I just upgraded recently. So yeah, things are being weird. Sad.
Well, talk us through it, even without the plugins.
Yeah.
So you just take the loop.
Yeah. And then once I've got the loop, I'll then add the drums and the bass, which is, I don't know what, it's called Beyonce bass. I think because I used it in a Beyonce edit, not because Beyonce inspired it, because I don't think she has particular.
Beyonce loves their sub bass.
She does, yeah. She does love it. This is sub boom bass, which is a great plugin for bass sounds, but my personal favorite at the moment is one called Sublab XL.
Yeah, I've got that. It's
Sick.
smack. Yeah, it's really good.
Sick. So those two for basses are cool. Sub boom bass is a bit more kind of like not as advanced, but Sublab is really, really good. So.
And are you sort of just trying to riff off the original bass line and just kind of like recreating with
I don't know what the original bass line is, but is that the original bass line? I
I'm
can't
not
remember. Should we listen to it? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think I wanted to add my own bass line, but I don't know. I can just. It's gonna sound really like I'm a genius, but I'm not. But I can just hear like in my head what melody it should be. If that makes sense, and I just sing it and then I play it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that weird?
No, I think it's quite
Not-
quite normal.
Yeah.
to,
Okay.
like,
It's
sing
good.
and play.
Okay. It's normal. Oh, I thought I was really clever. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So I do that really. And then play around with like counter melodies. I really like layering like harmonies, although annoyingly this one isn't working, but I love adding like a seventh or a fifth above a melody. So you see this note here, 1, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's up 5. So either a fifth above or a seventh above is going to sound really good. Those two harmonies that will work really well, or a third. So I don't know what I mean by that, like an interval. Yeah. Maybe I'll get shall I get a different plugin so you can hear how it sounds?
And
Let's just try something.
a lot of what you
random.
do is sort of like
Okay, this isn't how the original sound is, but just to give you an example. So like harmony. You know, just a nice counter. Like I love layering harmonies and stuff. So yeah.
And a lot of, I guess, you know, with the trancehall edits, the whole point was sort of like reappropriating to give it a different like groove, you know.
Yeah, because I love trance synths. I'm obsessed with them. I love the melodies, but the beat, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Sometimes the beats are just very square and very 4/4, and I'm a bit more syncopated. So yeah, I guess that was the idea behind trancehall, was to like reimagine those tracks in a sort of
And I kind of wanted to touch upon sort of the process for you as an independent artist and earth kicks into like self-releasing, like with this and also your own productions and collaborations. Just, you know, what advice would you give someone who wants to self-release music? Like they've produced and they're like, right, you know, it can seem quite a daunting, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't self-release originally. I released with Enchufada, which I think was great because it gave me the sort of insight of like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is the kind of the processes that you need to go in. So I think once I wanted to self-release, I felt really empowered to like know what I needed to do it. I think we're really lucky that there are loads of tools available in terms of access. You know, Bandcamp, you know, you can just upload stuff for free. Distribution is fairly accessible. It's not, you know, you can make a video and post it on Instagram. So I feel like the world has changed a lot, because I remember back in the day it was like getting a premiere on Fact, you know.
Yeah.
That was like, oh my God, you know, or even getting, do you remember like Majestic Casual, getting your track on that felt like the biggest deal, right? Felt like, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas now I guess it's like going viral on TikTok or something. I don't know. What would be like the equivalent? I don't know.
I guess
there isn't
so.
really.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not the. But yeah, I think just through trial and error, realizing what you wanted to focus your energy on, and I think my strategy now is sort of small releases, so like singles and small couple of track EPs. Focusing on direct to user content, so creating little videos and things that I can share on Instagram. Not paying for PR because it's a lot of money, and unfortunately, music press isn't
quite a dying.
It's quite
industry.
It's a dying industry, exactly. So I don't personally feel like it might be the best investment. I think that investing in content, advertising, radio plugging could be a good investment, and just trying to build your network organically, trying to build your audience organically through how you reach them. I guess the best artists now are really good at telling their story online. I don't know if I'm that good at it. I try my best, but yeah, just being able to tell your story and connect with people online using the platforms that you have feels like the best strategy. At the moment, yeah.
And you know, from releasing on like Branko's label to doing self-release, what do you see the differences? Like, would you recommend? Are you happy to self-release, or would you want to be releasing on others, or are you just like, no, I'm going to do it all myself? Where's your thinking?
I love like feeling fully in control of like how and when I release music, and owning my masters. Obviously, the downside is that you don't always reach as many people as you might want to. I think maybe going to a distributor and asking for support from them is a way of kind of helping to, if you can't finance your music yourself. We approached distributors, sent them a pitch, and they gave us an advance for our EP, which we haven't recouped. But still, you know, the fact they believed in us was nice. And I think a lot of distributors do offer advances. So if you've got a really amazing project that you think deserves a bit more of like a boost in terms of fun, in terms of promo, then go to various distributors and just send them pictures and just say like, oh, do you want to support this release? I think that's a good way of keeping control. I guess those are the main benefits. But obviously, if you're not established or you don't have the network, then releasing on a label can be beneficial, and it is beneficial, obviously. Just financially, not so much. But you obviously still control your publishing, make sure your music's registered on PRS. Even though, I guess there's pros and cons to both, but I'd say like just starting out, maybe reach out to labels, but also don't be disheartened if like you don't, like self-releasing is completely valid and can be really, really beneficial.
Yeah, we're gonna hand it over to audience members. If you've got any questions, have a think now. But just kind of on this kind of like independent route, I was actually thinking about the parties that you run, because you now do run parties. I remember you saying recently about how you kind of just wanted to do small venues, like you kind of had a experience of doing like larger headline shows, but you were kind of I'm wondering whether this kind of feeds into like the sort of quote unquote DIY artist or independent, or is it just something that you prefer the vibe of a smaller party? Or
I remember I just was actually listening to a podcast today with Scuba, the Not a Diet is Great podcast, and he was chatting to Teed, Totally Enormous Extinct Dinosaur, and he said that he just wants to see a really great middle class, a musician that can just do well. And I'm like, that's all we want, right? We don't need headline acts that are making millions. We just need people that are actually paying their bills through music and doing all right. And I think that for me, I've done that, and if I can continue to do that, that's a success in my view. I don't need to be doing these big, stressful headline shows and freaking out about profit margins and ticket sales. I just want to be doing stuff that I genuinely feel like creates community and brings me joy. I think for me, that's more important, is sustainability and longevity rather than like huge kind of success. Because obviously success is relative. You know, we did this party we did a show at Village Underground and we didn't sell out. So in my head, I'm like, I'm a failure, but I just headlined Village Underground. Do you know what I mean? It's just this weird, because you didn't sell out. It's like, that's silly, right? It was still a success. It was pretty much full, you know? I think that definitely has brought me back to like why I'm doing this. And so sustainability and continuing to kind of do well, but not burn myself out with stress. I guess is the aim, but...
Well, I just wanted to see if anyone in the audience had any questions before we wrap up. If you do, don't be shy. And there's no mics, I'm going to have to repeat what you say as well. So, anyone? The person in the back row? Just shout and I'll repeat it for the YouTube and podcast.
I'm interested, you said you're not doing too much on the EQing side. I'm asking because I don't know anything about that. Do you have any, like, are you doing any small things there, or have you got any tips before someone else who's sorting that stuff out?
So he's just asked...
mixing tips.
Essentially mixing tips, yeah.
So I use a template. I think it's really, really great to have like a bunch of buses set up. This is my one. So I've got like a room reverb, medium, long, quarter delay, 8 delay, 16 delay, chorus, overdrive, ping pong, some other stuff. So what I'll do is I'll just whack that on everything. Not everything, but you know what I mean? Use that. So that's a really quick way to like just do a quick mix on stuff to make it sound good. I will usually EQ stuff as well. I do all my edits, I mix myself. You know, I don't pay someone to mix and edit. That just doesn't really make sense. I think I do all of that. In terms of, I really love Isotope, the Imager. Where is it? I love this one. I think it's really cool. It helps you to kind of like spread sounds. This is really cool. So if you turn it on, it will just like make things really wide in the mix. I think that's a really cool plugin. Track Spacer is amazing. Where is it? Oh, where's Track Spacer? Anyway, where it is. Okay, you can't find it, but Track Spacer is a great one that kind of works like a side chain. Maybe it's on my bass, on my kick. Okay, I can't find it, but Track Spacer is a really good plugin. Here it is. It kind of works as like a side chain, but it's just really powerful and easy. I will always use that. And yeah, just make sure that things sound really clean. I really hate distortion, which I know is silly because distortion is obviously important. I mean, I use distortion to kind of like saturate and boost stuff, but I don't like my mixes sounding muddy. I like them sounding clean. So just try and clean stuff up. But yeah, I guess the template, if you can make one or if you have one already, like that's a really, really quick way to speed up your workflow.
Great. Good answer. Back row.
Yeah, definitely. You can listen to something over and over and you're
So
like...
the question is just repeating for YouTube. The question essentially, if you listen to a track or an edit too long, do you get fatigued of it and sort of like lose sight of am I liking this?
Yeah, I'll listen to it to the point I'm like sick of it, but then I'm like, oh, this is actually so good. So I think if I get sick of it, it means it's good. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I love this is actually really good. But yeah, I think also listening to it on lots of different, headphones, on the car, on the bus, different contexts can help you as well. And just, if you get the opportunity to play it out, obviously that's really important. If it's a club track, of course. You definitely can get fatigued, but you just have to, and you can also go a bit insane because you're like, oh my God, this needs changing. Oh my God. But I think learning to let go of that perfectionism is like a really powerful thing because you're like, you know what? No one cares. Like it just, as long as it sounds good enough. And I think that's kind of a good way when you send it to someone else to mix down, then they can kind of like, you don't have to nitpick as much. So that's a good way.
Do you work on songs continuously? Because some people have advised to like work on it for a day and then don't go back to it for a week and come back with fresh ideas, or do you just kind of like not finish the track?
Yeah, if it's something that I think is really good, I'll just knock it out in like one session and get it finished. But sometimes I do come back to stuff, and it depends really. I'm not like one of those super prolific producers that's in the studio 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Sometimes I don't go to the studio for like a month. It really just depends on my mood. And I do get really bad writer's block and just I just don't have any new ideas. But I think the best way to get out of that is collaboration, just like bouncing ideas off someone else. I think that's like one of my best ways that I get out of that rut.
Yeah. The middle row.
No, thanks for coming. Oh. Mm-hmm. So for I would be there in the room whilst they're mixing. I was working with Sam Interface. Shout out Sam, legendary producer and mix engineer. So I literally would just be sat there like watching him, being like,
he's like Minority Report as well. Like.
Yeah. He's like a evil genius, do you know what I mean? Like doing all this amazing stuff on the screen. So I would have a lot of input into it. And I did that for like my album. I just sat with him. I was just there. So just be there physically. I think is the only way you can really make sure that you have the control. But after a while, I think we sort of realized that I can kind of trust him to do a good job. And now he does it remotely. But I think just building a good relationship with your person that's mixing is really important so that they can listen to your feedback and you also feel empowered to like make, to tell them you don't like it rather than be like, I really like it. And you don't, like that's silly, right? Because it's your work and you should like it. So I think, having a good relationship with them and also physically being there, I'd say are the two things that have helped me.
Yeah. It's right here. That's a really good question. Yeah. So it's how do you find people to collaborate with, especially in countries where you might not necessarily?
It's
Because
going to
this is
sound
something
really
you've done a lot.
bad, and I know it's because we're English, but I honestly just go to English-speaking countries most of the time, which is like really bad because there's so much amazing. I need to get better at that, but I did go to Brazil, and it was challenging. Like we did have to have a translate. I wouldn't say a translator, but we did have to have someone in the room who spoke English really well. Yeah, it's difficult, of course. Like I think we're lucky that English kind of is the language of the music industry. So generally people do, if they work in music, they will have a decent grasp of it. I'm trying to think if I haven't really worked with someone that had no English. Yeah, so I guess that's really it. If I was to go somewhere, I probably would have to get a translator, yeah.
Even aside from the language bit, how do you go about
How do I
finding
find
collaborators?
people? Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, it really depends, I guess. If you're physically going somewhere, you just message them, I'm coming, like, let's do a session. And they'll be like, yeah, or they'll be like, no, and they'll ignore you or whatever. You know, you can't force people to do a session with you. But generally, I think, especially when you go to places that maybe don't have, like, you know, as much of an established scene, obviously people generally are open to it, which is really cool. Yeah, and then space. I find space is a really important thing. If they've got access to a studio, it makes it 10 times easier, you know. If they don't have access to a studio, sometimes it can be really tricky to try and find somewhere to work in. But of course, you know, you do your research, you try and find somewhere that can help. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
It's essentially finding a space, sliding in the DMs, basically.
Yeah, slide in the DMs and just hope for the best, I guess. I'm trying to think who I worked with recently. Yeah, all the people I worked with recently, they just have a studio. So, like, it's easy. I can just go to their house and there's zero effort on their part and I'm making all the effort. So I think, yeah, if you're really keen to work with someone, you've got to be willing to, like, go that extra mile for them. Yeah, I'm trying to think... Yeah, I mean, of course, I get ignored a lot. I get let down. People have cancelled on me. People have been unprofessional. But I think, yeah, you just the ones that do respect your time and respect your space, they're the ones that you kind of build relationships with. So yeah, but obviously you also have to be professional. You have to be on time. You have to be respectful too. So it works both ways. But generally, I've been really lucky. Yeah, people I work with have been really great, and yeah.
Nice. Anyone else? Great. Well, thank you for your time. Everyone give it up for Mina, please.
Thank you. And me and Bryte have a new track just coming out on Thursday, so look out for that. Play it. Oh yeah, I could play actually, couldn't I? Because yeah. So this track.
Oh look, it's just ready there. How can we?
I don't know. That's actually embarrassing. I was listening to it earlier. I was like, yeah, sick. How did this track come about? I was in a Fred Again. I was on like a mentoring thing with Fred Again. I don't know how I managed to do that, but somehow I ended up on a mentoring session with Fred Again and just made this beat that I thought like a rapper could rap on. Like,
wait, you was mentoring him?
No.
He was mentoring you.
Why would I be mentoring Fred Again? Like, he was mentoring a group of female producers. Like it was amazing, but it was kind of like, it kind of showed me that I don't really want to be in that world, because you're at the mercy of A&Rs who, yeah, just, it's a lot. But yeah, made a couple of beats. This one I sent to Bryte. He did his thing. And then at the end, we wanted to do this kind of like Ghanaian switch up at the end, like kind of old school vibes. So yeah. Yeah.
Money no they grow on trees. I beg, make us smoke my peas. Yeah, I dey work hard, dot all the I's, make sure I cross all the T's. Yeah, I be ghetto boy from the Zongo, but I swear I no go die in the Zongo. It be like I dey chill in my condo, but I dey make moves where the boys don't know. Hey, who you think you're talking to? Kuruva, I'm not scared of you. Original, I know be photocopy like you. Original, I know be photocopy like you. In fact, I would just say fuck you. Drop verse, where they made the MC's verse. Who be the best? Who be the best? I don't care. Just give me my money, make I go my mommy in there. Yeah, so my money come at the party. It be like say I join Illuminati. Take off the way my money they flow. If it be vibes done jazzy. Talk to me nice, talk to me well. Oh. Else I fit take your girlfriend go. Last breakfast, as you they cry. Me and her they play Nintendo. I shower guys so they chop one meats. Playboy me I get tactics. As Banabu make you beast bandits. Money in abundance, can't count it. Elon Musk money with a search. This ghetto boys with coins to the pets. Yeah, I no finish one yet. But your girlfriend come, she the beg, make a wedge. Bedroom messy, me D Maria. And Joseph no fi M Caria. Chale, alien brain with the use. If you mess with us, you go disappear. Eh, money where they stop nonsense. Yeah, money where they do wonders. Yeah, money where they choose governments. In fact, money where they show true colors. Oh, my dada, baba, flow na me de bani de kata, men fam mawa, fa family. When him saw him, I tell the fata, honey ho, a honey ha. Only me be cry one bomb me cat, yeah, or mammy da, or mammy back, or ye me zoo, or ye me za. I tried it, yeah. I tried it, yeah. But then you need me, eh? I tried it, yeah. I tried it, yeah. But then you need me.
Sick.
Yeah, so that's also going to be on a colours show in October as well. But this is coming out after, so it should be fine. Not a colours show, like a colours thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so exciting.
Cool. One more time, give it up for Mina.